It finally happened. After weeks of tension, explosive fights, and backstabbing drama, Rasheeda has done something no one saw coming. She publicly apologized to Yandy. Fans are completely shocked because, just a few days ago, these two were at each other's throats, dragging each other through the mud on national television. So, what changed? Why did Rasheeda suddenly have a change of heart? And most importantly, is this apology even real, or is there something much deeper going on behind the scenes? Insiders claim that behind closed doors, Rasheeda was facing serious backlash, not just from fans, but from her own inner circle. Some say she was pressured into apologizing, while others believe she's just trying to save face before things spiral even further out of control. But one thing is for sure, this isn't just a simple "I'm sorry." Secrets are being exposed, relationships are being tested, and Yandy might not be as forgiving as Rasheeda hopes. Buckle up, because this is one messy love and hip-hop showdown you don't want to miss. Let's break down exactly what happened, why Rasheeda is suddenly backtracking, and whether Yandy is really buying this so-called apology. Yandy paced back and forth in her living room, her heart pounding as she scrolled through her phone. The screen lit up with endless notifications, tweets, Instagram comments, DMs, all about her and Rasheeda. The internet was in shambles. Fans had picked sides, gossip blogs were eating it up, and the drama had spiraled completely out of control. The fight had been bad, worse than anyone could have imagined. Yandy clenched her jaw as she reread one of the headlines. Yandy and Rasheeda's friendship shatters after explosive love and hip-hop clash. Will they ever reconcile? She let out a bitter laugh. Shattered? It sure felt like it. The last thing she had expected was for things to get physical. The argument had started over something small, something that should have been a quick back and forth. But Rasheeda had snapped. And before Yandy could even process what was happening, the cameras had captured everything. The slap, the screaming, the moment years of friendship crumbled. Now, the world was watching, waiting for one of them to make a move. She flopped onto the couch, gripping her phone as she scrolled through the flood of messages. Some were supportive. "Yandy, you don't deserve this." Rasheeda was way out of line. "She's always been jealous. You don't need that negativity." But others were brutal. "Yandy's being messy. She had that coming." She plays the victim, but we all know how she moves behind the scenes. Yandy gritted her teeth. People were talking like they knew everything. But they didn't. They only saw the explosion, not what led up to it. She threw her phone on the table and let out a frustrated sigh. Across town, Rasheeda sat in her bedroom, staring at her own phone, fingers hovering over the screen. She had seen the backlash, the way the internet had turned against her overnight. And for the first time since the fight, she felt something she never thought she would: regret. At first, she had told herself she was right, that Yandy had it coming, that someone needed to put her in her place. But as the hours passed and the dust settled, Rasheeda started to see things differently. The video clips were all over the internet, replaying in slow motion, dissected from every angle. She could see it now, how angry she looked, how hurt Yandy had been, how fast things had escalated. She picked up her phone again, opening Instagram. Thousands of comments flooded her latest post. "You're better than this, Rasheeda. Fix it. I lost respect for you after that episode. Yandy didn't deserve that. We ride with you, but this ain't it. Apologize." Her stomach twisted. An apology? Could she really do that? She had never been the type to back down, and she wasn't sure she was ready to say she was wrong. But something deep inside her told her she had crossed a line. Rasheeda sighed, tossing her phone on the bed as she stared at the ceiling. Just a few days ago, they had been laughing together, talking about their families, reminiscing about their early days in the industry. They had been sisters. Now they were enemies. And it had all gone too far. It had all started at a love and hip-hop event, where emotions were already running high. The cameras were rolling, the drinks were flowing, and the tension between Yandy and Rasheeda was undeniable. They had been keeping it cordial, smiling for the cameras, playing their part, but behind the scenes, the energy was off. It all shifted when someone brought up a business deal gone wrong. Yandy had made a major move without telling Rasheeda, a deal that affected both of them. And when Rasheeda found out from a third party instead of Yandy herself, she felt betrayed. So, when they were seated next to each other at the event and someone casually asked, "So, how's the business going?" that was all it took. Rasheeda turned to Yandy, forcing a smile, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, you should ask Yandy. She clearly makes all the decisions now." Yandy's smile froze.
She knew that tone too well.
"What's that supposed to mean?" she asked, keeping her voice even. Rasheeda leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "I mean, since you're out here making moves behind my back, maybe you should be the one explaining things." The room fell silent. All eyes were on them. Yandy let out a small, dry laugh. "I wasn't trying to go behind your back. It was a business decision that needed to be made, and without telling me?" Rasheeda cut in, her voice rising. Yandy rolled her eyes, shaking her head. Yandy scoffed. "It wasn't even that serious. You're blowing this way out of proportion." And that set Rasheeda off. Her chair scraped against the floor as she stood up, towering over Yandy. "Blowing it out of proportion? You don't respect me. You never have." Yandy stood up too, eyes blazing. "Girl, you are not about to sit here and act like I don't respect you." The argument escalated fast. Voices got louder. Hands started flying. And then,
slap.
A collective gasp filled the room as Yandy stumbled back, her hand flying to her cheek. Rasheeda had slapped her. On camera. In front of everyone. Security rushed in, pulling them apart as Yandy stared in shock. Rasheeda's chest was heaving, her eyes filled with anger and pain. Yandy's voice was deadly calm when she finally spoke. "You just ended our friendship." And with that, she turned and walked away. The room was left in complete silence. But the damage? It was done. Back in the present. Yandy sat with her head in her hands. She had relived that moment 1,000 times since it happened. She had been humiliated. But more than that, she had been hurt. Because no matter what, she had never thought Rasheeda would go that far. And now, Rasheeda was the one feeling the weight of it all. She picked up her phone once more, fingers hovering over Yandy's contact. Finally, she took a deep breath and typed out a message. "Rasheeda, Yandy, we need to talk." Seconds later, the typing bubble appeared. Yandy was responding. And for the first time since the fight, Rasheeda felt something she hadn't in days: hope. Yandy's fingers hovered over the keyboard as she stared at Rasheeda's last message. "I meant every word." For the past few days, she had told herself she didn't care, that she had moved on, that Rasheeda's apology, if it ever came, wouldn't mean anything to her. But now, here it was.
Public. Raw.
Emotional. And she didn't know how to feel. She threw her phone down on the couch and walked over to the mirror, studying her reflection. The stress of the past few days was written all over her face. Puffy eyes from lack of sleep, lips slightly chapped from biting them too much, and a tension in her jaw that she couldn't seem to shake. This wasn't just some petty drama. This wasn't some minor falling out. Rasheeda had humiliated her in front of millions. That moment replayed in her mind over and over. The yelling, the accusations, the look in Rasheeda's eyes right before she lost control. And then the slap. The silence that followed. The way everyone had stared, stunned, unsure what to do. Yandy clenched her fists. She had spent the past few days telling herself she was over it. But deep down, she wasn't. The betrayal still sat heavy on her chest. But there was another feeling creeping in now. A different one. Hope. Was this apology genuine? Or was Rasheeda just trying to save face? Her phone buzzed again. "Rasheeda, Yandy, please. Let's meet up. Just us. No cameras, no drama. Just a real conversation." Yandy stared at the message, her heart racing. She wasn't sure what to do. A part of her wanted to ignore it, to keep the walls up, to protect herself from getting hurt again. But another part, the part that still remembered the years of friendship, the laughter, the late-night talks, wanted to see if there was anything left to salvage. After a long pause, she finally typed a response. "Yandy, fine. Tomorrow." 3 p.m. My place. The next afternoon, Rasheeda pulled up to Yandy's house, nerves eating her alive. She hadn't seen Yandy since the fight. Not in person, anyway. The internet had been ruthless. Memes, think pieces, reaction videos. Everyone had an opinion, and most of them weren't in her favor. But none of that mattered more than this. Fixing things with Yandy. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. Silence. Then, the sound of footsteps. The door creaked open, and Yandy stood there, arms crossed, expression unreadable. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then, Yandy stepped aside. Come in. Rasheeda swallowed hard and walked inside, her stomach twisting into knots. The living room was spotless, but there was an undeniable tension in the air. Yandy gestured to the couch.
Sit.
Rasheeda sat down, fidgeting with her hands. Yandy stayed standing, arms still crossed, staring at her with those piercing eyes. So, Yandy finally said, her tone cool. You wanted to talk? Rasheeda nodded.
Yeah.
She hesitated, then took a deep breath. Yandy, I messed up. And I mean that. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I did something I can never take back. I'm not proud of it. At all. Yandy's face remained unreadable. Why now? Rasheeda blinked.
What?
Why are you apologizing now? Yandy repeated, tilting her head slightly. Because you got dragged online? Because the fans turned on you? Or because you actually feel bad? The words stung, but Rasheeda knew she deserved them. I deserve that, she admitted. And honestly, if I was in your shoes, I'd be asking the same thing. But this isn't about the internet. This isn't about damage control. This is about us. Yandy still didn't speak. Rasheeda leaned forward, her voice softer now. I miss my friend. Yandy's expression flickered, just for a second, but Rasheeda caught it. Rasheeda sighed. Look, I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. I don't even know if you ever will. But I just needed you to know that I'm sorry. And not just for the slap. For everything. Yandy finally sat down across from her, exhaling slowly. This isn't the first time you've let your anger get in the way, Rasha, she said, voice calm but firm. And I don't know if I can keep doing this. Every time we fight, it gets worse. And this time, you, Rasheeda and Yandy sitting in tense silence, the weight of their past hanging between them. Rasheeda flinched. I know. And that's why I'm here. Because I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the kind of friend who hurts the people I love. Yandy studied her carefully, her expression unreadable. After a long pause, she finally spoke. I don't know if things can ever go back to the way they were, she admitted. But I appreciate the apology. A wave of relief crashed over Rasheeda. It wasn't a full reconciliation, not yet, but it was a start. And sometimes that was enough. The silence stretched for what felt like forever, Yandy's words still hanging in the air, heavy with unspoken emotions. Rasheeda shifted slightly, her hands clasped together in her lap, nails digging into her palm. She had known this wouldn't be easy. She had known that an apology wouldn't magically erase everything. But hearing Yandy say that things might never go back to the way they were, that stung more than she expected. Yandy let out a slow breath and leaned back against the couch, arms still folded. So what now? Rasheeda blinked. What do you mean? I mean, Yandy said, raising an eyebrow. You came here to apologize, and I hear you. But an apology doesn't fix everything, Rasheeda. Where do we go from here? Rasheeda swallowed hard. I don't know. But I do know I don't want to lose you. Yandy sighed and rubbed her temple. Rash, this isn't just about what happened that night. It's about everything. The things you said. The way you tried to turn people against me. The way you made me feel like I was the villain in all of this. Rasheeda bit her lip. I wasn't trying to. Yandy held up a hand. No, let me finish. Her voice wasn't harsh, but it was firm. I took a step back after everything, and I really started to see things for what they were. And the truth is, Rasheeda, I don't know if I can trust you. Rasheeda felt like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. Trust. That was the real issue, wasn't it? The slap had been the breaking point, but the cracks had started forming long before that. The arguments, the jealousy, the competition. Things had been simmering for a while, and now they had boiled over. Yandy? Rasheeda's voice cracked slightly. She quickly cleared her throat. I know I messed up, and I know I can't just say sorry and expect things to magically be okay. But I need you to know that I am sorry. Not just because of the cameras, not because of what people are saying online, but because I hate that I hurt you, and I hate that I let our friendship get to this point. Yandy watched her carefully, her expression unreadable. I don't know how to fix this, Rasheeda admitted, her voice small. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes. For the first time since Rasheeda arrived, Yandy's expression softened, just a little. Rasheeda, I want to believe you. I do. But I need time. Rasheeda nodded, her throat tightening. I get it. They sat in silence again, the weight of the conversation pressing down on them. Then Yandy did something Rasheeda didn't expect. She reached out and placed a hand on Rasheeda's. It wasn't much, but it was enough. A small, tentative step toward healing. I appreciate you coming here, Yandy said softly. I really do. Rasheeda gave a small, shaky smile. I meant every word. Yandy nodded, then let out a breath. I think we both need some time to process everything. But maybe we can start slow? Rasheeda's eyes widened slightly. Yeah? Yandy smirked.
Yeah.
No promises, but maybe we can see where things go from here. But just like that, the internet exploded. As soon as Yandy posted a cryptic Instagram story with nothing but a side-eye emoji and the word rebuilding, fans lost their minds. Comments flooded in within seconds. Is she talking about Rasheeda? Are they friends again? I need answers. We need a sit-down interview, ASAP. It didn't take long for blogs to pick up the story. Headlines ranged from hopeful, Yandy and Rasheeda, mending broken friendships, to outright dramatic, Yandy forgives Rasheeda after violent fallout. But is it all for show? But the biggest shock came when Rasheeda herself broke her silence. A long, heartfelt Instagram post with a picture of her and Yandy from old times, before the drama, smiling and laughing. Growth, healing, accountability. It's a process, but it's worth it. Hashtag no bad blood. And just like that, the internet was divided. Some fans were happy to see them working things out. Others weren't buying it. This is giving PR stunt. I don't trust it. Rash really said a couple of words and now everything's good? Not if Yandy forgives her. That's her choice. But that slap was wild. The debates raged on. And just when everyone thought things were settling down, a leaked voice memo surfaced. A conversation, allegedly between Rasheeda and another Love and Hip Hop cast member. In it, Rasheeda's voice was unmistakable. I mean, yeah, I apologized, but let's be real. People eat this drama up. They love a redemption arc. If I play my cards right, this could be good for both of us. The internet lost its mind. Betrayal. Fake apology. Was Rasheeda just playing the long game? Yandy hadn't responded yet. But fans knew one thing for sure. This drama wasn't over. Not by a long shot. And just like that, the biggest question remained. Is Yandy truly considering forgiving Rasheeda? Or is she just buying time? And the biggest question of all, was that leaked voice memo real? Or did someone drop it just to stir the drama even more? Fans are completely divided. Some believe Rasheeda genuinely owned up to her mistakes. Others think this is nothing more than a publicity stunt. What do you think? Should Yandy trust Rasheeda again? Or is this friendship officially over for good? Head to the comments and let us know your thoughts. Do you believe this was a sincere apology or just another love and hip-hop chess move? And if you want us to keep bringing you the latest shocking twists and updates on this drama, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a thing. Oh, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.